Good morning, dear students. So, today we'll be doing the next aspect in process costing, that is abnormal gain, or it can also be called as abnormal effectives. So, what is this abnormal gain and how it arises in process costs accounts? So, whenever you remember that we had done in our previous video lecture that normal loss is an estimate. We estimate normal loss, that how much it is going to be on the basis of our previous experience, that whatever normal loss would occur in the normal circumstances, in normal conditions. But when the normal loss actually is slightly less than what we estimate, then there is a case that we have a abnormal gain or effectives as the effect. That is, the result is abnormal gain. So, in simple words, if I want to put it, then I can say when actual loss in the process is less than the estimated loss or the expected loss, then the abnormal gain results in. Now, we post this abnormal gain to abnormal gain account, and how it is shown in the process accounts. Let me tell you about that. So, let's say I am making process A account. So in over here, what we do is we have the units column, of course, the particulars, units and amount. Then again, the particulars, units and the amount column. So we are putting it over here. Please write down full. I am just using the abbreviation part, but you please write down in full. So here you remember we used to write 2 units introduced, and here we had our normal loss, the estimate. So if when the units introduced were 1000, and let's say normal loss is given, it is given that we have 10% of our units introduced. So 10% of 1000, so it is 100 units. So 10% is 100 units, and let's say it has a realizable value of rupee 1 only. It can be sold as scrap, and we are given that by transfer to next process means process B, let's say. So process B, the units which are transferring, they are now actually how much they should have been, 1000 minus 100, that is 9900. Sorry, 900, should have been 900. Now actually they are, let's say, 940. I know this sounds a bit like this, but these are exceptional circumstances in which it can happen. Now, in that case, when we will be doing the totals, so just see how much total is coming over here. It is 1040, and over here we have 1000. So we have 40 units remaining on the, in order to balance, we have 40 units on the debit side. So these are the units of abnormal gain, or we can also call them as abnormal effectives. Now the question arises how we have to value this figure and this figure. Of course, the cost for this might have been given to us. Let's say it is 1 lakh. Clear, it is already given to us. Now, how to value these two question marks? And whenever there are question marks, you remember the same formula which we have done earlier, that is, I think by now you must remember what does it mean. We have done in previous 2 lectures, that is cost of normal effectives divided by normal effectives. So cost of normal effectives, how it is going to come? Again, the debits minus credits. Over here on the numerator, the rupee side, and on the denominator, we are going to take the units column. But what we are going to do, debit minus credit, but keeping aside which things? the question mark parts. जहाँ जहाँ question mark है, we do not need to see those things. उनको छुपा लेना है हमने. Let me put one thing more over here. Now see what is available on the debit and credit, and then you put it in the formula. In the rupee column, we have 1 lakh minus 100, and in the units column, we have 1000 minus 100. So it is going to be something like this: 1 lakh minus 100 divided by 1000 minus 100. So when we solve it, so whatever the rate comes, that is going to be the rate per unit. Us rate se what we are going to do, this is a valuation rate, and we'll be valuing this also, and we will be valuing this also. तो इन दोनों की वैल्यूएशन हमने इस रेट पे कर देनी है. सो दिस इज़ हाउ. नाउ इफ़ आई आस्क यू व्हाट इज़ द अकाउंटिंग ट्रीटमेंट of accounting entries which are passed for the valuation of abnormal gain. So just see from here, let us make this abnormal gain account. So what entries will be shown in abnormal gain? This is in the process account. We have shown the posting. Now let me show you how the abnormal gain account will look like. So abnormal gain account, again the particulars column, the units and the amount on the debit side, particulars, units and amount on the credit side, and then let us go ahead. So टू abnormal gain यहाँ पे लिखा था, तो इसके opposite side पे यहाँ पर हमने करनी होती है posting, आपको पता है. So here over here it will be mentioned process A. So this process A will come, and over here we'll be writing 40 and whatever the rate. Let's say that rate comes out to be, suppose that is we have 2000. Just I'm assuming this figure, didn't do the calculation part. So suppose ये हमारा यहाँ पर rate 2000 आया होता. Suppose it is just a suppose, please. Not I'm not using calculator at this time, so just I've written suppose it is 2000 over here, तो हम यहाँ पे लिख लेंगे. Now in this case first entry जो हमने पास की वो क्या हुई, process account debited to abnormal gain. तो पहली एंट्री हमारी आ गई वैल्यू ऑफ abnormal gain नोट करने की, that is process account. अगर यहाँ process A account है तो process A account debited to abnormal gain. Now abnormal gain arises only because normal loss की हमारी estimations के कारण. तो what we are going to do is we are going to cover up the part, some part of normal loss from here. तो यहाँ पर याद रखना है ये है main entry, इसे स्टार लगा लेते हैं. This is the main entry that you remember that जो हमारा normal loss है we'll be trying to cover up, or we are going to try the we are going to do the adjustment of abnormal gain with the normal loss scrap. तो उसके साथ एडजस्टमेंट करेंगे. और यूनिट्स कौन से लेंगे, हमारे पास यूनिट्स यही ले लेंगे. जो यूनिट्स यहाँ पे दिए हुए हैं हम उन्हीं यूनिट्स को ले लेंगे. तो सेम यूनिट्स विल बी गोइंग ओवर हेयर. लेकिन ये ज़रूरी थोड़ा है कि इतने ही यूनिट्स का हमारा जो नॉर्मल लॉस ओवर हेयर, जो वट एवर यूनिट्स, तो 40. और आपको याद होगा वैल्यू यहाँ पे तो वो आएगी जो हमारी वैल्यूएशन रेट वाली है, लेकिन यहाँ पे जो वैल्यू लिखनी है विच इज़ दैट गोइंग टू बी, ये वो वैल्यू है जो इस प्रोसेस अकाउंट की स्क्रैप वैल्यू है, रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू. तो हम इसे कह सकते हैं एडजस्टमेंट ऑफ स्क्रैप वैल्यू ऑफ एबनॉर्मल गेन. दिस एंट्री क्या बनी, एबनॉर्मल गेन अकाउंट डेबिटेड टू नॉर्मल लॉस. इसका पर्पस क्या है, इट इज़ एडजस्टमेंट ऑफ स्क्रैप वैल्यू of abnormal gain. So 40 into 1, 40. Now just see, we need to do the balancing part. So units column balanced, amount column में इस side पे we have the balancing figure. तो वो कहाँ जाएगी, costing profit and loss में. That will go to costing profit and loss. So how much is that, 2000 minus 40. So we are going to have it over here. यहाँ पर हमारा जो balancing figure आने वाला है उसको हमने डालना है. और एंट्री क्या बन गई हमारी, लेट्स से इट इज़ द थर्ड एंट्री, दैट इज ट्रांसफर ऑफ फिगर टू वेयर टू द कॉस्टिंग प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, और ये हमारी आ गई 1960। ठीक है जी, तो ये 40, 2000, 40 और 2000, तो ये जो 1960 की है ये हो गया हमारा ट्रांसफर ऑफ द बैलेंस ऑफ एबनॉर्मल गेन टू कॉस्टिंग प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस। 3 एंट्रीज हुई, एक एंट्री ये, दूसरी एंट्री ये जो स्टार एंट्री ऐसे नहीं भूलना, और तीसरा आ गया कॉस्टिंग प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस में बैलेंस का ट्रांसफर। सो ये जो हमारे एस्पेक्ट्स हैं, यानी कि इसी के साथ 3 एस्पेक्ट्स हमारे ओवर होते हैं। एक एस्पेक्ट हमने किया प्रोसेस लॉस का, जिसमें वी डिड नॉर्मल लॉस, एबनॉर्मल लॉस, और अगला एस्पेक्ट हमने अभी किया कौन सा, एबनॉर्मल गेन का। सो all these clear, now we are ready for doing one numerical. So let me take up a numerical and show you its big picture also, so that you can do it. Okay, so this is chosen, let me show, let us read. So over here we have the illustration. The product of a manufacturing company is passing through two processes X and Y, and then it goes to the finished stock account. It is ascertained that the process normally is 5% of the weight of the output is lost. The ये जो normally लिखा ही हुआ है तो फिर it is the normal loss, and 10% is scrap. इसके अलावा उसने कहा है कि एक तो नॉर्मल लॉस है, एक स्क्रैप भी है, यानी कि दो वेराइटीज़ बता दी इस क्वेश्चन में। विच फ्रॉम प्रोसेस एक्स इज़ रियलाइजिंग 80 रुपीज़ पर टन एंड वाई इज़ रियलाइजिंग 200 पर टन, एंड द डाटा इज़ अवेलेबल फॉर बोथ द प्रोसेसेस। तो दो प्रोसेसेस हैं, एंट्रीज थोड़ी हैं हमारे पास जो दी हुई हैं, वील बी पासिंग दोज। Remember, there is no work in progress and we have to prepare process account. We have to make the accounts of abnormal loss, gain, whatever is arising. तो लिखा तो abnormal gain, abnormal loss है, लेकिन normal loss का भी बनाना ही है. So we are going to have number of accounts which we have to make from this little illustration. तो let us start. Process X बनाएंगे, process Y बनाएंगे, but we will be going in sequence. So process X में how much material has been introduced, तो वो मटेरियल दिया हुआ है टन्स में, कॉस्ट पर टन दी है, वेजेस दिया है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्सपेंसेस दिए हैं, एंड देन वी हैव गिवन विद द आउटपुट। ये आउटपुट प्रोसेस वाई का इनपुट बन जाएगा, इसका आउटपुट, इसका इनपुट अगले का, लेकिन वहाँ पर एक्स्ट्रा मटेरियल भी लगाया हमने, और भी लगाया 70 टन्स का, उसका रेट दिया है, एंड देन सिमिलरली वी आर गिवन विद द वेजेस एंड देन द एक्सपेंसेस एंड देन उसका आउटपुट। इसका जो आउटपुट है वो कहाँ जाना है, इट इज़ रिटर्न दैट द आउटपुट इज़ ट्रांसफर टू फिनिश स्टॉक अकाउंट। यहाँ पे अभी हमने सेंटेंस पढ़ा था, एंड देन टू फिनिश स्टॉक अकाउंट। सो दिस थिंग इज गोइंग टू बी the output, and it is going to go to the finished stock account, so buy finished stock account. So let us start with the question. So now on the board, so firstly we'll be making the process X account. So I'll be taking up one by one. Firstly, the process X account. The process X account we have, okay, so let us start. First of all was the materials which we have introduced. So two materials, they were, sorry, here there are tons given, so we'll be writing tons. Whatever quantity, you can write quantity word also, or you can write tons word also. So tons 1000 have been introduced, and it is written cost per ton is rupees 125 per ton. So ये 125 per ton के हिसाब से it is this much. Then we have been given with wages again to be entered on the debit side, expenses all over here. So wages are given 30,000, and then you are given with manufacturing expenses in the question as you had seen earlier. So manufacturing expenses are 6,000. Then we have two things. You remember there was one, let me make the working note over here. It was written that there was normal loss that was 5% of weight, and then there was 10% scrap. Now 5% and 10%, what we are going to do, 5%. Firstly, let us calculate. It is written 5% of weight of output. Word ध्यान से पढ़ना है हमने. Is it 5% of the weight introduced or it is the 5% of weight of output? So over here the question mentions, let me show again, it is 5% of the weight of the output is lost. 5% of weight of output. तो इस प्रोसेस X का जो आउटपुट है दैट इज 830. तो रिमेंबर दिस. अगर लिखा हो कि 5% ऑफ द वेट ऑफ द इनपुट, तो इनपुट 1000 थे, देन वी वुड हैव टेकन 1000. बट क्योंकि आउटपुट वर्ड लिखा है, देन वी आर गोइंग टू टेक 830. तो ओवर हेयर वी हैव द बाय नॉर्मल लॉस, और नॉर्मल लॉस इज 5% ऑफ वेट ऑफ आउटपुट. तो आउटपुट ओवर हेयर इज व्हाट, वर्किंग नोट्स में करते हैं. So 5% of 830. How much that comes out to be? Nearly 41.5 tons. It is lost. Lost मतलब सिर्फ यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने लिखना है there is no scrap value of it. And then 10% is scrap. तो by scrap, इस scrap को हमने बेचा भी होगा, तो 10% is scrap. Now this 10% is scrap of 1000. तो 10% of 1000 comes out to be 100. तो 100 का जो रिलाइजेबल वैल्यू है, इट इज़ रिटन एट द रेट ऑफ 80 रुपीज़ पर टन. सो 80 पर टन पे हमारी रिलाइजेबल वैल्यू है, तो 80 के साथ हमने कर देना इसको मल्टीप्लाई. सो हाउ मच दैट कम्स आउट टू बी 80 इंटू 100, दैट इज़ द 8000. So we have these things with us. Now what is left? Let us put up all that. We are given with by transfer to the next process. वो थोड़ा नीचे करके लिखना होता है. Suppose the totals are over here, we will be writing over here. तो by next process उसका नाम दिया हुआ था, it was process by count, and put over here in the bracket that output is transferred at the rate of. output transferred पूरा लिख लेना और उसका rate लिखेंगे. So output transferred, how much is given? 830. 830. Do the totals, see the balancing, where side the balancing is coming. तो बैलेंस फिगर हमारी यहाँ पे अगर 1000 है, तो यहाँ पर हमारा बैलेंसिंग फिगर बच रहा है यूनिट्स का. तो वो जो होंगे यूनिट्स 28.5, दे आर एबनॉर्मल लॉस, बिकॉज नॉर्मल लॉस इज ऑलरेडी रिकॉर्डेड एंड ओवर अबव द नॉर्मल इज एबनॉर्मल. So abnormal loss. Now question mark, question mark. Now if I say question mark, you very well know which formula to be used. Yes, it is cost. The marker is not working. Let me change. Cost of normal effectives divided by normal effectives. How it going to come? I think अब तक याद हो जाना चाहिए. Whatever I need to calculate, उसको ही देखना है. और जो सॉरी इन चीज़ों को कर लेना है हाइड हमने. बाकी 1,25,000 प्लस 30 प्लस 6 माइनस 8, ये आ जाएगा न्यूमरेटर में. डिनोमिनेटर में उन्हीं की यूनिट्स में देखेंगे तो 1000 माइनस 41.5 माइनस 100 करके हमारे पास एक रेट आना है, एक रेट आएगा. तो वो रेट हमें कैलकुलेट करना है. सो द रेट ओवर हेयर इन द क्वेश्चन, इट इज़ कमिंग आउट टू बी 178.20 पैसा. तो उसी से इसको मल्टीप्लाई करना है और इसको मल्टीप्लाई करना है, and we will be having the figure that is, let's say 5079, and over here 1,47,921. तो टोटल आ जाएगा दोनों साइड्स पे, यहाँ पे भी टोटल कर देना है हमने. तो ये टोटल है नियरली 1,61,000. सो दिस वे द अकाउंट इज डन. अब देखो इस अकाउंट में एक नॉर्मल लॉस भी आया है, अब नॉर्मल लॉस भी आया है. हमें साथ साथ क्या करना है, नॉर्मल लॉस अब नॉर्मल लॉस के अकाउंट्स बना लेने चाहिए. तो वो आपने नोटबुक में साथ में बनाने हैं, जहाँ पर व्हाट एंट्री यू विल बी डूइंग द एंट्री. देखो नॉर्मल लॉस इज जस्ट लॉस, नॉट यूनिट्स. तो वी कैन स्किप दिस, बट स्क्रैप का अकाउंट ज़रूर बनेगा. The scrap has to be made. So where this scrap is going to go? This is 100 units. और ये आ जाएगा डेबिट साइड पे इसके 2 प्रोसेस एक्स. तो 2 प्रोसेस एक्स 108,000, और क्रेडिट साइड पे आ जाएगा आपका बाय कैश 100 units and 8,000 in the rupee value column. So process X is done. Now remember, this was the output and it will be the input of process Y. So let me make process Y quickly. So how the things are going to show up in the process Y account? Process Y is going to be again in the similar manner we are going to make. So particulars, then our tons, then the rupee column, then particulars, then tons, and the rupees column we have. So here the units which came from the previous process, that is process X, the units were 830 tons quantity was coming in, and the value was 1,47,921. Then some materials were introduced in this process also, and how much were those? 70 tons. The rate was given, how much cost per ton? It was given at the rate of rupees 200 per ton. So multiply 70 with 200 and you have the figure, that is 14,000. Apart from this, the expenses were wages and manufacturing expenses. So wages we'll be writing over here, and the wages in the question are given 5,000. No, wages are given 10,250 and manufacturing expenses are 5,000. Okay. So as we did in the previous one, here also there is one normal loss and then there is one scrap. And of course, whatever is the output of this process, that is going to go where? That is going to go to the finished stock account. So what is the normal loss percentage over here? It is written 5% of the output, and output is given in the question, that is given 780. So 5% of 780. That is the normal loss. So 5% of 780, it is going to be 39 tons. So 39 tons is lost. So nothing recoverable. Scrap is percentage is given 10%, and that 10% is given, of course हमने किसका लेना है? Scrap. When I say 10% of units introduced, तो units दो हैं अब यहाँ पर 830 and 70, दोनों को total करना है. So 830 plus 70, that comes out to be 900. तो 900 का 10%, that comes out to be 90. So, and the realizable value of the scrap in this case is given. How much is the realizable value? It is given process Y is 200 per ton. So multiply this with 200 and we have 18,000 rupees in the rupee column. So again, what is the next step after we have done every entry? We'll be doing the units column, the quantity column totals. Where over here we have 900 and here we have 909. So whatever units are now remaining, they are remaining on this side, that is the debit side. So what are they called? They are called the abnormal gain or effective. So 9 tons are the what? They are abnormal gain or effectives. So question mark, question up. Don't put these question marks in your paper. This is just that I just want to give a reinforcement to your mind, to your brain, that the moment I put question mark, you, the next thing which comes to your mind is ma'am is going to apply the formula of cost of normal effective by normal effective and going to calculate the rate. So normal effect, yeah, whenever you do this, again the process is hide this, the debit total minus what is in the credit side divided by units on the debit minus credit, but just hide that. You don't have to see this part jahan jahan question mark hai. So the rate which is coming to us is, that is 206.45. So with that we will be multiplying 9 tons also and 780 also, and the amounts which we are getting is 1860, and over here we are getting 1,61,031 rupees. So do the totals, do the totals. And now this is complete. So here we have abnormal gain. In abnormal gain account, it will be appearing by process Y. So remember, on the other side, so let me show you those accounts also quickly. Firstly, the abnormal loss. There was abnormal loss only in one account, that is, it was in which process? It was in process. Abnormal loss was in process X. So it was a by abnormal loss. Here it will be 2 process X. So 2 process X, how many tons were there? 28.5 tons, and their value from process X account, if we take up, it was something 5079. Now remember, this is to be sold as scrap, so by cash. So 28.5, and what is the value? The realizable value, whichever is given in the question for the sale of scrap, that is 80. So at the rate of rupees 80 per ton, you can write it over here. So into 80, you will be doing, so how much? Now we have the tons column balanced. We don't have anything in the tons column left, and where the balancing figure is appearing, it is appearing over here. And how much is that? It is approximately 2799 rupees, and it is to be transferred to costing profit and loss. So that's it of the abnormal loss account. And what about the abnormal gain account? Abnormal gain was in process Y, so there we wrote 2 abnormal gain, and here what we are going to do, we are going to get, here we are going to write by process Y account. So how many tons were there? Just 9 tons were there, and the value was 1860. You remember the star part? I purposely wrote the star on this side in abnormal gain, and that is again a reinforcement only. Paper में star नहीं लगा के आना. Don't put a star in the exam sheet. Just it is for you to remember that over here there is a special entry, that is normal loss. So normal loss 9, and realizable value. Realizable value was how much? That was of this, that was 200 per ton. So 9 into 200, it comes out to be 1800. So the tons column have been balanced, and whatever is left, that is 60 rupees, that will be transferred to the costing profit and loss account. So 9, 1860, 9 and 1860. So the things are done. So try solving numericals, process costing, its aspects, and the numericals are over in these 3 lectures. You have many more aspects in this, which will be covered later on. So that's all for the day. God bless you all. Thank you.